And we are live on the Red Pill News, tuning in from all over the world, 181 countries, over a million people, and I love you all. I love you all. So, this is the deal, right? The Supreme Court is working. And because they're working, people are mad. Because you're always gonna have people out there that don't believe, or they don't agree with others, but it's been so powerfully weaponized, politicized. People just get into this mad dog rage if somebody opposes their views and whatever. My mom told me long time ago when I was a kid, if you want to remain friends with somebody, never discuss politics or religion with them. And that's a really intelligent bit of advice because it's not like you're going to learn something. You know what I mean? If you have your belief, they have their belief. Yeah, you can compare stuff and say things or whatever. But if it's really truly embedded inside of people, it's not like they're going to give anything up because of your views. And what difference does it make anyway? Why are you trying to convince anybody of anything anyway? When people knock on your door and try to sell you a new religion, who the hell are they to do that? Trying to convince you. They don't know you. They don't know what your head is like. I'll tell you though, after those Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses talked to me, they used to run past the house. I'd be there, like doing something in the kitchen sink, and see these Mormons like truly, like speed walking past the house. You speed walk. You have to like kind of go to the bathroom, and you're trying to hold it together, and you're trying to make a beeline to your banyo. That's the deal. Because I talk real with people. I'm real with people. And I have questions, man. If you have statements, I have questions. And a lot of times I had the free time to do all of this. So, but that's belief. And belief is a very powerful thing. Once people get that in their head, it's very difficult to get it out of their head, and just bring them back to a point of even mindedness to try to accept the values and check out what's going on, and also discriminate the values in what these religions push themselves at, and not just religion, anything. So it really comes down to you surviving every day, living your life, and trying to get through this thing, and making our way through this world to a better place. But in essence, people are at odds with the Supreme Court. Roe versus Wade. The way they're trying to, the memo came out, and they're gonna think about reversing it and whatever. And it's really taking the federal law away from it and leaving it up to the states. And then of course there's states that'll outlaw it, and there's states that won't, and the ones that won't will get people from the states that do, and they're going to have to determine if those people are breaking the law if they go to another state. It's a terrible physical gray area that it's a personal issue, and it's turned into this political banter, and also political daggers, because there are people on either side that are doing violence. They're hurting other people. They're making death threats. They're marching outside of these Supreme Court SCOTUS's houses. The conservative ones, the liberal ones, are getting a pass, I guess, because they're going to vote the other way. But you have a group who's trying to influence the Supreme Court and their decision. I mean, that is not liberty. That is not justice. You can't do that. But these people were made to think that they can do it because it's all been weaponized. It's been weaponized against people. And who did this? Who did this? You know who did it. It's actually two groups that did this. It was the right and the left. And under Trump days, Trump did a lot of good stuff for this country. He got a lot of important things pushed through and all that, and helped rebuild our military and do the things that he needed to do. But he was a big bolsterous beast. And there's people who don't like that. And then, the left, it was very easy to fan the flames and paint those ideas out there, and then push all the stuff, even the whole January 6th thing. And yeah, I watched him whip that crowd into a frenzy. I watched him incite that riot. I watched it happen. I actually couldn't believe he was doing it. I think, you ever get into those moments where you're doing the wrong thing and you can't stop yourself? A lot of people find themselves locked up when that happens. But even like in a relationship and you're having a battle or whatever, and you're telling yourself that you gotta stop and you don't stop, and it goes to a terrible place. And once those words are out there, they're out there, man. Don't tell me the words don't hurt. Once they're out there, phew, they're out there forever, forever and ever. So handguns. New York State, California, Illinois. New York State, California, Illinois have the worst illegal handgun problems that there are. Most shootings, worst crime, and the stiffest gun laws on handguns, especially in those states. So you have to ask yourself a question that if the criminals all have guns, but legal wise, you can't have a gun unless you truly show you need a reason to have it. Like, not just saying, hey, I want to carry a gun because I fear for my person. It's more about, okay, you have to show cause your life is in danger because of what and this and that type of thing. They ruled in the Supreme Court that this 100-year-old law is overturned, that you can't do that to people, that you just can't take their liberty away and their Second Amendment rights away, and then say justify yourself. Justify yourself in your self defense. It's a dangerous world, man. And I read every day where people defend themselves with guns in their homes and outside of their homes, and then they came out of it alive. The ones who defended themselves. If they didn't have that, it might be different. And yeah, you know what? It's terrible, isn't it? It's terrible to think that you have to pull out your firearm and shoot somebody. The people who don't think it's terrible are sick minded. But it's self defense. It's a terrible world. It's a world full of unpredictability too. You never know, man. Let me tell you, I drove through the Crown Heights riots back in the day when I was driving out of New York City into Crown Heights in Brooklyn. And it was originally story was this Hasidic Jewish guy who was a livery driver who had his license suspended, I think, over 30 times or something. He shouldn't have been on the road, put it that way, driving. He ran a red light and ran over a little black girl. I think she was 4 or 5 years old, something like that. And then, killed her, and then had a real cavalier attitude, like, whatever, I don't care. And that enraged the black community in that area. And then two rabbinical students were walking home, and then, they're teenagers, and they got killed, got into a fight with a group of guys because of this other person running the kid over. In the days that followed, there were skirmishes between the two groups. You had groups of black people and groups of Hasidic Jews like battling it out. Then it was like all out war, and that's when I drove. That's when I got to drive through. I was yeah, I had a good day in the city. I had a cool Cadillac, man. I was driving out of the city. It was a nice day, and then all of a sudden, here I am in this mess. That's how fast it happens. You just, you think you're okay, boom, and you're in this incredible mess. And my gut told me not to go that way, man. There's something inside of me that told me to go take the 59th Street Bridge and cut through Queens instead of go all the hell the way through Brooklyn. I don't know what was in my head. I was just trying to access the BQE. Everything was all shut down, and then once you were in there, oh, it was mayhem, man. It was surreal watching these groups of people fighting it out and whatever, and you feel vulnerable because you don't have a weapon, and maybe you do. In New York State, they make it very hard, almost impossible to have one, especially in the city. Or if you're a criminal, you get one right then and there. $50, $60, whatever the hell you pay for it is right there in your hand, and then they use them, don't they? But if you're an honest, law-abiding citizen and you do things the right way, you have to jump through all of these fire hoops. So the Supreme Court ruled it back. Then they said, well, ultimately the only thing the states can do now is fingerprint you, do background checks. Yeah, that's fine. No, whatever. I mean, big deal. I've done that for all kinds of stuff. I've done that for licenses and whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But it's a victory for the regular person, the law-abiding citizen. It's a victory. It's a victory for the United States Constitution. And it's a victory for everybody who is a freedom-loving person. So I love it. I love it, man. And you know what it is. it's also peace of mind for a lot of people. I'm a member of a couple of gun clubs, and we do have NRA events. I'm not a member of the NRA. I was at one time, a long time ago. I just figured it wasn't worth it. I didn't want to do the dues. I guess I don't know. It is what it is, but they are good in certain instances, and I think they get a little too political in others. But every time they came through, the NRA was always about gun safety. It was gun safety, gun safety, gun safety. You'd be hard pressed to find these mass shooters who are NRA members. And more hard pressed to find gangbangers in the street as part of the NRA. They don't really show up. You know, and learn how to use their firearm. But it's a scary world nonetheless. And in New York State, where stun guns are illegal, where pepper spray is illegal, if you want to give your mom a little can of pepper spray to carry in her purse, you can't do that. It's illegal. She'd be committing a crime. It's actually a felony. They made all these things felonies, man, and misdemeanors and/or felonies. But so the battle goes on for the Constitution. And what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen when, if it sounds like they're getting set up to rule back the whole Roe versus Wade thing. There are threats from groups out there against anybody, whoever. I mean, anybody who is part of this. You would think the FBI would be more, proactive and going after these groups and reining them in as terrorists. I mean, these are people who are threatening our Supreme Court. They're threatening them with their decision. The Supreme Court, they're not politicians. They have a background. Yeah, I mean, some are Republicans, some are Democrat, but they're not politicians. They're judges, and supposedly the highest judges in the land who can sort things out. And if you have that problem, you say, "I'm taking it to the Supreme Court," and you go all the way up the chain, and try to get some justice. So I think ultimately that people suck. That not everybody, but a good chunk of them anyway. And because of that, we need laws. Right? So those people who suck can't victimize you. So I like seeing. I like seeing A Rod's happy little face, man. I'm not a sports dude. I don't really follow it. If it gets big and interesting, something to catch my eye. But as for sitting there watching it all the time, the live games are fun because you're there and there's a lot going on, on the field and the fans and whatever, and you get a hot dog and have your beverage, whatever you like. That's cool. Watching it on TV, I could even see watching baseball on TV, or football, soccer, stuff like that. Rugby, but golf. You know what I mean? Golf. That's a whole different thing. I could watch that Paige Spearnack all freaking day long. I'll bring out the pig in me. She looks good for a golfer, man. Golfers have changed. So Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, went out with J Lo and she stomped him good. Stomped him after he gave her that ring worth millions of bucks. Now J Lo's got a ring collection that if she hawked them all, she could probably solve poverty throughout the world. So, but I like this because it's a desperate look at me from A Rod to J Lo. J Lo must be something extremely special to have these dudes who just they lock themselves on it. They give their heart, and that's a guy, isn't it? Give their heart, and it's very difficult to kind of break away from that. A Rod's a billionaire, isn't he? He's got all kinds of businesses and whatever. He's got yachts and that type of stuff. So now he's got this new girl, Catherine Paget, right? And then, of course, they have to have the video of their yacht excursion, sailing across the Mediterranean, stopping at several European cities along the way. Isn't that amazing? My life is drive down the road and stop at the Dandy Mart maybe and get some windshield wiper fluid. And it's like you see these people and then they're just they're not in our world, are they? I'm not in their world, they're not in my world, and I don't think they're in our world. Maybe you're one of them, and you're damn lucky if if you are. But just seeing this guy, he's lost a few pounds. He's chilling out. He's got the good cigar in his mouth. He's got the good shades that don't really fit his head, and you know he's got it going on the yacht. And he's got this girl, his what do they call that object? A trophy girl, whatever. She's out there in the bikini. Yeah, she looks good. Yeah, the starting price of the charter. So he chartered this 60 meter. He doesn't own it. This Allia yacht, $441,000 a week. $441,000 a week. I don't think he ain't having a problem putting gas and stuff. And it sleeps 12 guests with a crew of 15 people, man. Hey, you got the bucks. That's you know what? That's capitalism, man. If you got the bucks, go ahead. Here he is, like jumping in the water with a shirt on. He actually didn't lose any weight. He probably gained a few pounds, but he is dancing around with this girl, and he's like, "Look at me and look at me," and it's all a message to J Lo. And she probably looks at this and feels sorry for him. Women can detach themselves very simply and very easily to the point where you're in nowheresville, and they've already moved on. They moved on even before they moved on. You know what I mean? Sometimes guys can do that. Men are more like giving the heart and having my heart and all that. You know what I mean? But women, some women, yeah, we call them the waltz. Not all women are like that. So, but he paid for this girl. That's what he's got. He's got the cute young girl, the bikini. She's too muscular for my liking. She's not my type, man. I don't like muscular girls. Like if you're gonna look at people, if you gotta find people, like you like, they're attracted to, they're so whatever. You know what I mean? A little thickness is nice. Skinny's nice, man. But the muscles, it's kind of manly. The muscles with tattoos, that may as well flip the other way. Find somebody with a disposable income. At one point, Rodriguez is filmed relaxing as he puffs on a cigar. It wasn't lit, actually. In another moment, the duo enjoyed some jet skiing together in the clear blue water. Hope you don't get eaten by a shark. The couple are also seen working out together to stay in tip-top shape. She probably feels like she's working out with her dad, with his dad body, man. I guess that's the age. She's only like in her 20s, man. Other activities shown including tubing, hydro flying, water skiing, swimming, dancing, and eating delicious dishes. You see that? I like that last one. I'll take the last two. A little dancing, eating delicious dishes. I would rather have delicious food than the actual dish. The other stuff, the tubing, hydroflying, water skiing, I'll watch people do that. They could do that. If you're that rich, you can do that in a fish tank. Here he is, like working out. There's like a workout area. That's a nice yacht. $441,000 a week. And people are starving in the world, aren't they? People are suffering, committing suicide because of their situation. I don't know. It's such a duality. Rodriguez and Paget were joined by his ex-wife Cynthia Skirtis and their two daughters, Natasha 17 and Ella 14. There you go. Here's a whole group, all of them happy together. Of course they're going to get joined. It sleeps 12 people. 441,000 bucks a week. A-Rod got his thing out of it. The former Major League Baseball slugger and his girlfriend were spotted leaving a nightclub in Ibiza, Spain, in the wee hours of Tuesday morning, and last week the duo were caught making out on the dance floor. He's probably tired. Old guys get tired fast. You got to take some of that testosterone. Here's a picture of this girl. There's no way to keep up with this girl being some old dude. Let me tell you, man. People. Can you love someone younger than you? Sure. Can you be young and love someone older? Sure. Your things you remember will never be the same. There's no areas that you're going to really kind of intersect unless you have a lot in common. But This girl's in it for the money, for the ride. If it was A Rod, the guy who worked at 7-Eleven at night, this girl wouldn't even look at him. She'd be like, ew, ew. And that same ew was she sitting here at $441,000 a week yacht and with A Rod money, private planes, everything. All she has to do is put on a little skimpy bikini and she's in it, man. In it to win it. Let's see. All right. I think that's it for that. I just like the picture of A-Rod sitting there with a cigar. I think he's become full circle. Now he's in the desperate look at me mode. He's getting around. He's almost at his point, like the Ouroboros, man. He's almost at his point where he's eating his ass. That's right. So people have different opinions about Elon Musk. I like Elon Musk. I don't know a ton about him, but I know his antics. I think that his rockets are amazing. I think he's got amazing technology. What he wants for space. He's a visionary. And this guy was the PayPal guy. This guy wasn't he's not Mr. Scientist, but he's got vision for industry, and you need that, right? And look at the industry that he is part of. So now he's trying to buy Twitter, and they're going through this whole thing, and it's on and on and on. I'm already over it. There's so many things I'm over, you know. So I'm just beyond. But now people are there's a movement against the whiny millennial babies, right? They've had their whiny voice for a couple years, 3 years, whatever it was. The whole time Trump was in there, they've been validated and green lighted to go out there and be the whiny babies that they are. And there's whiny babies on both sides. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna attach parties or politics to this. These are just whiny babies that are a generation that don't really understand achievement, even, or trying to achieve. They kind of want to be served, and they're social media babies, right? Social media has truly destroyed a whole generation. If I'm going to sit there and pick apart, I'll call it anti-social media. I'll call it socialist media. The stuff that they do and get away with, and the privacy intrusions and all the other stuff, and people just giving up their rights left and right for these large corporations to kind of just be in your face and intrude, right? So there's a whole generation that is hooked. They do things because of social media. They do stupid things because of social media. Some of them do illegal things because of social media because they want to show others what stupid thing they're doing. Then they record themselves doing it. Then they get arrested because that's the evidence. See, and that's stupidity. Back in the day, if you had to do something, you do it on the DL, man, down low. You know what I mean? Under the radar. You don't want cops in your face. We used to go to the beach all the time. These beach clubs at Atlantic Beach when they'd be like all closed up, trespassing signs and whatever. You know what? If you're just walking out to the beach and you're going down to the water, what harm does it do? What harm does it do, man? But if cops are in your face, yeah, cops came and chased us out of there multiple times. Sometimes they could be cool about it, but most of the time, they're out because it's privately owned, right? They own the mountains, they own the beaches, they own your ass basically. So, but this is Elon Musk saying no to the whiny entitled millennial babies. A few days ago, employees of space flight company SpaceX released an open letter criticizing their CEO Elon Musk. Less than 48 hours later, at least 5 employees who orchestrated the letter were fired. Yeah, fired. You know? Good. The dam is breaking. The listen to me millennials who have had an overblown influence on corporations and our culture are finally being told to sit down and shut up. It is very much overdue. People are taking a breath of fresh air off of stuff like this because it's been too much, and they don't say anything. These whiny bastards. They just whine on and on about whatever how unfair life is. They don't even know what life is. Unfair, really. Anyway, or do what they say, and if you go against their views, you're evil, and they're gonna go on social media and destroy you, right? And that's what they do. They use social media as a tool for blackmail, you know. So all right, let's see. But isn't Elon Musk supposed to be a free speech absolutist? Screech his critics. As I explained to my small children, freedom of speech under the First Amendment means the government can't arrest you for calling the president a doofus. It doesn't mean that you could do the same thing to your boss and expect to remain employed. Similarly, you can't tell your wife she's ugly and then plead free speech. You're ugly. Free speech. You're ugly. What? What? You're ugly. Ooh, you're ugly. What? What? You're ugly. You don't need no alibi. You're ugly. Yeah, yeah, you're ugly. Ooh. All right. Let's see. She gets mad. You know, call your wife ugly. I don't know anybody's gonna call their wife ugly and survive. Free speech in America means you can go into the public square and say what you want, safe in the knowledge that you won't end up in prison. Twitter should be included in that, which is why Musk feels so strongly about allowing open conversation on the app. But this is the deal. He's talking about these people restricting the voice of conservatives, not restricting the voice of these liberals. So it's lopsided. You know, you're not allowing a conversation at that. You're just banning people because you don't believe in what they believe in. You know what I mean? So as Musk has tweeted, he said, given that Twitter serves as the de facto public town square, failing to adhere to free speech principles fundamentally undermines democracy. Demonocracy. You know, is it an app? Is it a tool? What is it? Is it a communication device? You tell me. What is it? You know, that needs to be determined. If something is a communication device, it's different. If you're like, you know, when Facebook started floating their telephone, right? Use the phone to talk to your whatever, you know, internet telephone, talk to your loved ones, friends, blah 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 blah, all that stuff, right? They put themselves out there as a communications company. The very fact that they have private texts, they put themselves out there as a communication company. They can't restrict your speech unless you're making threats or doing something that goes against their rules. There's a lot of people right now going through the Facebook restrictions. You know, I talked about it last week, and I'll talk about it again. This is what they had. I put this picture up a couple of years ago. You know, when Trump said you can, like, you know, basically inject Clorox, and then, you know, is it okay to inject Clorox, whatever. People had fun with that, and then of course some of these memes were made, and there was like a fake ad for Clorox chewable tablets, you know, with you know, Trump on there saying it'll cure you, I think, and that type of stuff. Just something stupid funny, right? They restricted me from that, and then I challenged it. Then they said, okay, it doesn't go against their community standards, so they're going to put it back up. Then I got into the issue with my friends about a class action lawsuit against Facebook for these things that they do, because it really is defamatory what they do to people, of restricting them and banning them, not, you know, by community standards, when we set the community standards, you know. So but first they said it was against it, then they said it wasn't against it, then they came back and suspended me again, restricted anyway, saying it was against it, and I can't challenge that. And this is what's going on. This is what they do to people. You know, whether it matters to you or not. Like, some people don't really use Facebook. I know a lot of people who left. They're gone. They either they're on something else, or they're not on anything at all, and or that they're walking away from it. You know, completely. A lot of young people don't use Facebook. You know, so it's going to have its time. it's going to transition, like Zuckerberg wants the meta universe to include all these great things where he's going to make billions upon billions. Yeah, maybe. But when people are walking away, if you have no customers, you got no billions. And Facebook stock has been tanking for the last 2 years since their IPO, their initial purchase offer. Since their IPO, it's been going down, down, down. Lately, it's been going really down. So it's interesting to try to understand what's in people's heads. But I don't think that it takes much, because you think of money. Money is what's in people's heads, and I don't know. I think that at some point they're going to lose the game, and and by the way, the restriction is so I'm not allowed to advertise on Facebook, which I don't. I'm not, and won't. I'm not going to give them money. They're restricting me from giving them money. That's funny as hell. And they're going to put my posts on my own personal pages that I run in the lower third, which doesn't make any sense because I'm the only one allowed to post on there. And what was the other one? Oh, they're going to hold their breath and turn blue, something like that. But they're attacking people for humor. They're attacking people. They're going back. One of my friends said they went back 8 years and suspended her off of some stupid thing, just a funny meme. 8 years ago. So there's an agenda there. There's something going on with Facebook, and there's so many people soured and disconnected from it. They're walking away. I used to have thousands of people, friends you can call them, on there. Now I think I'm down. It's under 400, and I get rid of new people. I get people all the time. If I don't interact with someone within a certain amount of time, I get rid of them. If I think that they're, I mean, the ones that are there now are pretty much have been there for many years, but it makes me not want to use it. You know, it makes me not want to use it when I sign on and see that restriction thing. It makes me feel bad. It makes me feel I get a weird feeling in my gut when I see it. It affects me physically. So I mean, is that crazy? Probably, maybe. But what it is it's a malice coming out of them. You know what I mean? It's something that it's malicious, it's nasty, it's unwarranted. These are robots that are doing it. They're not even people that are judging these ads and judging these things and trying to control. They're trying to control free speech. And it's not like people are spouting off hate messages of hate and whatever. It's just a stupid thing. It's a meme. Facebook is 90% memes. So if we're to let them judge us and our actions, there's going to be a desensitizing, a chilling effect from that that's going to affect us in how we communicate. That we think, oh, if I post this, I'm going to get put in Facebook jail, or I'm going to get restricted and whatever. And I think I was only suspended for 24 hours once many years ago because of some stupid meme I posted on my friend's timeline for his birthday, you know, and they, goes against our community standards and whatever. But there's no due process. And if community standards belong to everybody, then how does it go against their community standards, and then they start talking about community standards, including Iran, China, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, places like that. Do you really want, as a freedom loving person, hey, if you're in the US, the UK, Australia, any place that you're a freedom loving person, do you really want those other countries and their so-called community standards to get in the way of your expression? And we're letting some crappy app do that to us, and they expect us to support them. So Facebook's just become a junkyard of memes, and just stuff their computer banks full of memes, full of cat and dog memes. Just stuff it, stuff it, stuff it. Ain't the biggest files, the better. Just stuff it, man, because at some point the people that are on there will be so sick and so soured, they're just going to move on to other groups. And I'm already doing that with other friends and a messenger, and we have a little group in there. We can say and post and do whatever you want to do, and you don't have to worry about it, But Facebook wants to be in control. That power has a lot of responsibility. You can't just, punish people because of some stupid meme. So anyway, let's go back. Anyway, so Elon, let's see it. Let me get down to the important part here, because Elon said, let's see, uh, okay, he's just kind of giving a pep talk about not cursing out the boss. If you go on there, these people have no problem saying what they want to say and how nasty it is, unfounded and nasty about people. They're calling this guy out on being South African and trying to attach racism to him because he grew up in South Africa. They sink to the lowest level. They gut punch you on the lowest terms, and now he's telling them to stop speaking out against certain topics. Is it But the ones that got fired, they got fired. Now, of course, they want lawsuits and whatever. But in any business, I can't even imagine, you know, cursing out your boss or saying terrible things about them, unfounded things too. Things that are unfounded, tying him to racism, like really unfounded, and only because they don't like his views. If he was with them, they wouldn't care what he said and what he did. You know, and this guy like voted Democrat for a lot of years, and you know gave tons of money to them and whatever, and look at the way they all turned on him because of his ideas, because of his, it's not even an agenda, these are ideas, right? So anyway, forget this, forget that. I just thought it was cool that he's getting rid of people. So talk about teenagers with bad parents, or ones that don't have the understanding on how not to intrude on somebody, not to to have disrespect for people. So you got the story about these Florida teens. They bust into an $8 million mansion and throw this wild party, host a boxing match inside the home. Why the house didn't have all kinds of security and whatever, I don't know. That's undetermined, I guess. And they obviously knew the house was empty, that the family was away, because they had advertised it on social media that they were going to break into this place and have this big party. So, Florida authorities are giving teens and young adults a chance to come clean after breaking into an $8 million home, throwing a wild house party, and posting videos on social media showing the rowdy scene. The Walton County Sheriff's Office said deputies were called early Saturday to a home on Blackwater Street in unincorporated master plan community of Watercolor. Watercolor. I bet that's a neighborhood I can't afford to drive down that street. Yeah, that's the kind of place. That's the thing. Like those $8 million mansions, well, those places are heavily patrolled. I find it amazing that this actually happened. So, but let's see. So the cops show up on a noise complaint. Upon the deputy's arrival, most of the partygoers had left the scene, but video was circulating on Snapchat, Instagram, and other social media platforms revealed to law enforcement how revelers had set up a boxing match in the mansion's foyer. Several partygoers recorded large crowds blaring music, downing alcohol. An open house party is against the law, the sheriff's office said. And he also said an open house party in a home you'd break into is burglary. Authorities described the homeowners gave no consent to the party and seemingly had no connection to the young people who took it upon themselves to break in and throw the massive bash. You got a kid here. Yeah, they stole their jewelry. This kid here is like got Super Bowl rings. This guy must have been a football player or a collector or something. Yeah, every finger has got a Super Bowl ring on it, and takes a picture of himself with all these things. It's stolen property, right? In a house he's burglarizing. This is how stupid people are. I don't know. Do they think like nothing's going to happen to them? And maybe if they're little rich kids, yeah, probably nothing will ever happen to them because their families have a ton of money. They hire the best lawyers, and then they just buy their way all the way through the system, don't they? Don't they? It's very rare that one of them actually experience true, real justice. So, okay. Apart from the damage caused, and items stolen. It's a complete violation of someone's home that you can't put a price on. The feeling when you know someone went into your closet, tried on your clothes, used your bathroom, doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it, especially in a place where you're supposed to feel safe. Does anybody feel safe anywhere? How about little kids in elementary school? They're supposed to feel safe that some psychopath isn't going to come in and shoot them to death when cops could have easily stopped them, when the cops chose not to go in a dereliction of duty. You know what I mean? Does anybody feel safe? If you're relying on someone to show up and save you, there's no superheroes. You know that, right? That's in the movies, man. And movies is magic, but they're not real, right? Or that you get Hollywood people wanting to believe like, well, the violence, desensitizing violence, that part of it can be very real, especially for children, right? But in the movies, there's reset buttons. In the movies, you know, there's it's there's not they're not going to get locked up. That's what I'm saying. Maybe Alec Baldwin, but these other ones, no. All right, let's see. Snapchat is not private and can be subpoenaed. The post included several images taken in Snapchat showing a large crowd smiling for pictures and drinks in hand. One photo showed a male uh, taking a selfie wearing a handful of golden rings. It was an insurrection into a millionaire's house, right? The video shows a majority of cheering onlookers as their phones drawn and recorded the boxing match as two young males. Don't you think that it's a big chunk of social media that pushes this type of stuff? They want the viewers, they want to be influencers, they want people, they all want to be famous, every last one of them. They pick up their phone and boom, look, 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 I'm famous because I'm doing something crazy or illegal or stupid or whatever, So let's see. You may think that it's you may think it is if it's cool if you're a teenager or someone in their early 20s and you are not yet worldly. The post said, worldly, your friends will snitch. How about respect? Forget worldly. Worldly comes with experience. This is basic respect that the parents teach you. Don't do things that are stupid. Don't break into people's houses. Don't you ever gotta tell your kid not to break into someone's house? You know what I mean? Okay. The warning also extended to anyone who might argue that this is just kids being kids. We want you to ask yourself how you would feel if your home was ransacked and your sense of peace and security was taken from you. Before you say they might not have known, ask yourself if what was taking place was appropriate or legal, regardless if they had permission to be there, which is they did not. The post continued, before making an excuse for these kids, ask why they felt that they could do this in the first place. Because you know why? They feel justified in doing all these illegal things. They don't care. There's no shut off valve anymore for this type of behavior. So, so the cops are out there looking for more people. Obviously, they don't have a ton of information to go by. They do have lots of pictures, pictures, pictures. This kid with the rings, man, it's time to lock this dude up. You lock him up. You lock them up. They burglarize and stole from a house. The family's gonna have to go through all their stuff and see what was stolen because a ton of stuff was stolen you know, and they had no problem doing it. And I'll guarantee all these kids were all little rich kids. I'll guarantee you that every last one of them is bleeding rich, every last one of them. And then they have no problem going into somebody else's mansion, destroying it and whatever. They live in that neighborhood. They've got bucks. They're from that neighborhood, and they've got bucks. So whatever. It's just sickening, isn't it? Sickening, sickening, sickening. So I was reading a story about Emma Willis, of course, Bruce Willis's wife, and Bruce Willis, has been diagnosed with aphasia. So that kind of means that he's in and out, and he can kind of lose it, or not remember things and that type of thing. It can become pretty intense. Happens in a lot of people that have strokes and that type of stuff. It was very heavy news for a lot of Bruce Willis fans. But here's a story about his wife. So and this kind of got me a little bit because it's part of what I was just talking about the me generator or the me people. They only want to focus on themselves, and there's a movement out there that are telling women to do exactly that, focus on themselves and not their kids and not their husbands, not their family, or which is the things that make them happy. And then or they could be also as difficult, celebrate their mentalness. I've read articles about that where they could be as difficult as they want, and you can't judge them for that, but they can make your life a living hell, and then it's justified because they've got these so-called conditions. I don't know, there's a lot going on there, but anyway, I'm going to read you this article. Emma Hemming Willis is focusing on her own needs amid husband Bruce Willis's ongoing battle with aphasia. When you put everyone's needs above your own, no one wins, she wrote via her Instagram story. So, yeah, she got a little Instagram. She's famous because she's married Bruce Willis or whatever. But I take issue with that. When you put everyone's needs above your own, no one wins. You know who wins? You all win because she's taking care of somebody. If you're taking care of your kids, you're taking care of your family. Your needs, their needs are your needs. And this is a selfishness that has been it's like infecting people, man. A lot of relationships break apart because of this new type of mentality, and they're putting it out there as as feminist, and these are women being strong and whatever. No, they're just people who are thinking of themselves and not others around them. So the model, 43 years old, continued. I don't do this perfectly, but I'm really trying so I can be the best I can be for the people I love and adore. See, that's fine. That's fine. And that's what you should do. All right. So Emma, who shares daughters Mabel, 10, Evelyn, 8, with a diehard actor, 67 years old, recently admitted to struggling with her husband's health news. I put my family's needs above my own, which I found does not make me any kind of hero. So, do you have to be a hero? You be a mom, you be a wife, and that's what you chose. That's what you chose. By the way, that's what gets you those nice mansions. That's what gets you those private planes. That's what gets you into the best places, the best restaurants, the best of everything. Have the best food, the best land, the best everything. But you're thinking of yourself. I mean, that I have a problem with that, obviously. Let's see. The amount of care for everyone else within my household has taken a toll on my mental health and overall health, she continued, and has served no one in my family. Now, I looked into this. They've got a team of nannies that have taken care of the kid since birth. He's got a nurse that 24 hours, daytime, nighttime, people on hand looking out for him. I fail to see her I'm taking care of everyone, and it's taking a toll on my mental health. This is the new thing, that I have mental health, so I can do this and I can be this way and I can do terrible things because this is the new thing that people really need to be afraid of. This it's a poisoning mentality. It's not going to happen for long because a lot of people won't settle for it. I've read a lot of articles where these girls have complained that their boyfriends broke up with them because they couldn't handle their mentalness, and their whatever they want to do with it, however they want to do it, these guys can't handle it. How dare they? And walk away. And the guys were like, well, I don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to deal with it. I want someone who's going to be a girlfriend, and someone's going to love me and care for me and that type of thing, and maybe move on and marry. Not dealing with somebody with all these made up issues. And then, yeah, there's real mental problems out there, but there's a lot of other names that these psychologists and psychiatrists have attached to people, and to make them think that they have some issue, and they use it as a crutch. Oh, there's people in Hollywood, you know that do that. There's a lot of people that kind of just use it as a crutch. Alyssa Milano, she's always out there venting constantly, and she's nuts. You know what I mean? Like, and but she's allowing. This is the deal. These people are allowing these things to define their personalities and define them instead of them being themselves. And if you have issues, those are issues that need to be worked out, but it's not a defining thing, right? So anyway, She says someone told me a long time ago that when you overcare for someone, you end up undercaring for yourself. So she's on it about this whole thing. But I have never seen where this woman has extended herself. She leaves for months at a time and goes to resorts and spas and that type of thing, right? Emma, along with wait, there we go. Emma, along with Bruce's ex-wife Demi Moore, and Demi Moore has always been there for him, right? And their kids, Rumor 33, Scout 30, and Tallulah 28, released a family statement in March revealing the A-lister was retiring from acting during his health. So who stood with him to do the release was also Demi Moore, right? To Bruce's amazing supporters, as a family, we wanted to share that our beloved Bruce has been experiencing some health issues. Blah 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 blah. You know all that already. Yeah, his wife, man, she's model, very attractive. That's what Bruce Willis money gets you. It's as simple as that. Just like A-Rod money, that's what that gets you. These people are bought and sold. Their properties, temporary rentals, rentals, rentals. As a result of this, and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away. Yeah, we know that. But I just thought this art, and it doesn't go on to say anything. I just thought the article was incredibly selfish of this woman actually saying these things in public, especially if he can read these things. How do you think it's going to make him feel, reading this and oh, I'm a burden to you and that type of thing? There's a psychological game going on there that is very very ugly, and that it'll lead to a bad place. And at this point, it's very sad. I mean, but that's you know, as for the people that love you and care about you, that'll always be there, versus the people that you buy and pay for. The ones you buy and pay for are not going to be there for you. The ones that you just like you bought them off the shelf, and that's it. So, but that's what these guys are, and that's what they do. And Bruce Willis will have no problem. He's being well taken care of, not by, not by his wife, but she thinks she is. Maybe she can't handle much, and that's her whole thing. So, but people used to be a lot stronger and a lot better back in the day, and there's a new breed that's out there that's not the same, and they really don't. It's they call it the me generation. And I get that. There are people who are takers, there are people who are givers. It's hard to find a giver who's a taker because it's their nature, right? But then there's people who like taking, you know and they'll go after those givers. But I don't know, just gotta keep your eye out, keep your eye on the weather sky, on the horizon. And yeah, I was watching that movie the other day again. Bruce Willis, not Bruce Willis, George Clooney. George Clooney, that Perfect Storm. What a silly movie that was. It really was. And their first mistake, being objective as watching the movie, was hiring Bruce. I keep saying Bruce Willis. Bruce is on the brain. George Clooney as a captain of a fishing boat. He's an actor, but it's just it's one of those things that is so overly dramatic and bad acted. It was like just there's some good actors in there, but they just weren't. I don't know whether the director was bad or whatever. I think the whole thing was just bad. You think you had too many good actors for a movie that didn't really have as much bite to it. But it definitely emphasizes the people who are stupid out at sea when they know a storm is coming and they have no problem endangering the lives of the Coast Guard when they have to come save you. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And yeah, let's give much love to our first responders, saying that, and all the people that protect us around this country, around our borders, and out there, and in there, and in there, and out there. I'll see you guys next week on the Red Pill News on United Public Radio Network, UPRN Talk Radio.com.